Thanks for joining me for your April 2018 Astro Tarot forecast. I am shuffling the Lover's Path Tarot during the Astro portion of the reading. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I do love to use a new deck each month. It's helping with some of the energy that I receive as a medium, an astrologer, and a tarot advisor to you and people all over the world. So thank you for subscribing to this channel and for your donations and your likes and your support here, as well as on my Facebook and Instagram page. I appreciate the support. Let's get into the month. We are coming out of a beautiful full moon, blue moon, in Libra at the very end of March on the 31st. And this full moon culmination brings an awareness for Sagittarius, Sagittarius rising. In the 11th house sector, your friendships or the release of connection is present. It's available to you. The full moon is the closure that Sagittarian needs in the 11th house of technology, the internet, social clubs and organizations that you're connected to. So Sag might be closing the door to a certain online presence that they've established here in that 11th house, or to a literal connection or relationship. It depends on how this works for all of you very differently. And please watch your rising sign and your moon sign for a full dose of the cosmos. On the 2nd of April, I'm having this day circled on the calendar. We have an exact aspect between Mars and Saturn. Mars will be conjunct Saturn in the sign of Capricorn at an exact 8 degrees. And the planet of energy and aggression conjunct the planet of limitation and discernment and restriction is a harsh aspect. And this occurs in your sector of finance and your security and your insecurities, your self-confidence and self-value, your self-worth. And I think that Sag has been experiencing some doubt in this area, and these catalyst dates that I'll be mentioning are trigger points for you. And they could be days where you are breaking through these limitations, or days where you realize they're at their heightened and most uncomfortable. And I feel like there's a certain amount of confidence that comes along with Mars, but then you have Saturn in the same position, holding on to old ways and limiting you, testing you in the 2nd house of your earnings and what you have earned up until this point. So it doesn't have to necessarily be the green paper, but it can be all of the self-value that you've accumulated up until this point has a combustible energy on the 2nd of April. And a few days later, on the 7th of April and the 8th and the 9th, our moon will transit over these progressive planet placements. And this lends to a feeling of insecurity. And the moon is your intuition, but it's there helping Sag to see how you are second-guessing yourself. And I feel like there is a doubt happening in how you are projecting or promoting yourself, and then retreating. Mars moving forward, Saturn taking 10 steps back. And you're overly discerning every word, every move in terms of maybe career or how you earn money and earn respect from others. You are overanalyzing, but to your own detriment. And there's an abrupt awareness of all of this, first on the 2nd, then when the moon crosses over, more insecurity can arise for Sag between the 7th and the 9th of April. And then on the 26th, with these 3 major planetary players positioned in Capricorn, you'll have then Pluto retrograde conjunct Mars at 21 degrees of Capricorn. in this second house. And this date, even globally, will be a date of importance. There's power struggles here. There is an authoritative control, autonomy that exists in this time period. And there could be global unrest on that day. Pluto is death and change and destruction. Mars is war and fighting and aggression. Having them sitting on top of each other at 21 degrees on the 26th of April concerns me. And, you know, there'll be something that day that when we turn on our phones, we'll be hearing about. But for you personally, this is occurring in your second house of confidence and how you are valued and what other people are paying you and what you are receiving in turn. And definitely has to do with what you're saving. Saturn is there to assist in that realm. But Mars could be stirring things up and helping you to spend and spend and spend. So it just depends on how it will work for you personally. But your confidence has been up and down, leery, and you're trying to maybe express yourself in a certain way, but then you're taking 3 steps back in that. And maybe you've been inserting your foot in your mouth a little bit. When some days you're feeling confident and then all of a sudden you're just like, I can't do that anymore. So there's something to be learned here in this area for you. On the 14th, Jupiter sextiles Pluto. And this planet of abundance and expansion is harmoniously positioned 1 sign away from Pluto in Capricorn. Jupiter's in Scorpio. So there's a positivity between your 12th house of the internal self, the subconscious mind, and the second house of this value. So you are getting a little bit more of a boost or feeling as if you are in a more positive place around that time period. Now on the 15th, 1 day later, Mercury goes direct. The planet of intellect and communication has been retrograde the first half of the month. And he'll go direct at 4 degrees of Aries. And that same day we have our new moon at 26 degrees of Aries. All of this is conjunct Uranus, the planet of electric insight and abrupt upheaval. And this is all occurring in the 5th house of romance, of children, of true love, of creativity. Some Sagittarians are inspired at this new moon to create, to find new love and connection. Mercury may have had you assessing old relationships or old romantic connections during the retrograde, in addition to old environments that you were connected to, maybe when you were younger. But as he goes direct, it's full speed ahead here. I don't think Sag is meant to bring in too much of the past moving forward. Also on the 17th, Chiron, the wounded healer, our asteroid, as well as Juno, the asteroid, moves into this 5th house, out of Pisces into Aries. So there's a healing placement for you and your children. If you're disconnected from the children at this time, there's a healing that can occur. There's also a healing in the 5th house of fertility. For those of you who are trying and able, you could have some luck with pregnancy this year. Saturn is retrograding the 17th at 9 degrees of Capricorn in that 2nd house of finance and value, conjunct a retrograde Pluto and a direct Mars. Geesh. That's a lot of energy in this confidence sector, and I feel like Sag is feeling that wave, to and fro, up and down, where do I stand, insecure. Try to remain focused on the self and not so much about what's happening externally. Run your race with blinders on, like I do. Don't look to the left, don't look to the right, just look full speed ahead. Remain positive in your own undertakings. And there's no need to compare. Some of you are feeling this security sector being amped up so much with Mars and Pluto and Saturn, some of you are comparing and feeling the need to compare and contrast your life versus others. And that can get you into trouble. Remember, where you focus your energy is what you will manifest. And I feel like I'm living proof of that. It's true. If you're harboring insecurities because you're comparing yourself to others, I feel like you're working against yourself. And that's a limiting distraction and will not get you to your surest destination and highest sense of self-worth and purpose if you're looking to the left and right. That's the message I'm getting. And we'll see what happens in the tarot too. I'm interested to see some of these cards. On the 19th, the sun enters Taurus, blessing the health sector with positive life force energy. We go nowhere without the sun, and he is in the 6th house of health and work and daily routine and maintenance for you, Sag. Use those 30 days wisely and tend to the physical self, the health, the appointments. Now that Mercury's direct, seeing doctors and physicians in certain areas. Dental issues can be resolved now as well because Earth is involved. And when the sun is in an Earth sign, especially the health sector, you can tend to chiropractic treatments, bones, alignments, teeth, joints, all of that. On the 24th, Venus moves into the sign of Gemini. I love that. I love when Venus is in Gemi. But this for you, Gemini is your polar opposite sign, Sag. And it's the sign directly across from you, the soulmate sector. And you're attracted to Gemini. You're drawn to Gemini. And with Venus here, you're even more so. And this is the planet of love and attraction in the sign you might be most attracted to, Sag. So there is soulmate, marriage potential, love, and connection. For those of you who want it, it's available to you. You have free will. Just get out of your house. Make yourself seen. And on the 29th, we close the month with another closure, full moon, 9 degrees of Scorpio in water, conjunct Jupiter, beautiful energy. This is your full moon of the year, not because it's not in Sag, but it's in the closure sector. It's in the last possible house for you. It's the sign just before you. So it's a full 12-year culmination in the, or I'm sorry, it could be 12. I'm getting that, but I'm getting, it's a full year's worth of culmination. And because Jupiter's in the mix and he's a 12-year planet, it takes him 12 years to go around the wheel. So this full moon is conjunct Jupiter, expanding it. Wait till you see the size of this moon. And if you're a witch, if you're into Wicca, it is the wind moon, the Celtic moon. And it's going to be big, so I'm calling it the big wind moon, but that's just my own personal name I'm giving it. So there is a ton of energy happening. Let's get to your cards. Sag, if you'd like to read with me, I read all through the week. You can reach me at audreyalison.com and select your desired reading length via PayPal, and I'll get back to you in a day or two with an email to set that up. As well, your VIMEO on-demand messages, medium messages, are available for March, and April's will be up in just a few short days, so make sure you check those out, as well as my tarot course, The Magic of Tarot. Last March, on the first day of spring, I published and wrote my first online course, and I'm in the process of writing 3 more. So they will also be available this year in the first half of the year, and I'll let you know more about them as I'm finishing the editing process right now. So stay tuned for that and consider taking my first course if you have not. And all of the links are below in the Show More section. Your first card, Sag, for the month. Wow, this is your card. This is the card of temperance, balance in the tarot. Roman numeral 14 is the card of Sagittarius. So this card is out to say hello to you. But noticing the word Venus, this is Venus, Aphrodite, on the card. Venus goes into Gemini in that time frame of the 24th, and you are connecting with soulmate, and they're intertwined at their hand, and you might find your equal match, a balance for you, Sag. Let's see, Queen of Cups. Wow. This is a water sign female, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Extremely intuitive, psychic, goddess. And some Sages are in connection with water signs right now. That full moon is available for her in this card. We start the month coming out of March on the 31st with a full moon, and then we have our full moon on the 29th in water, in Scorpio. So this time frame of the end of the month is prominent, and that size of that moon, our moon in water will be conjunct Jupiter. It's going to be massive. The next card, wow, I just decorated this card in my decorative series on Instagram. It's the World. This is completion, a triumphant end to what you had been searching for. Beautiful major arcana card in the tarot for success, the completion of goals and some endeavors that you've attempted. The Prince of Fire, the Page of Wands, delivering quick creative messages. You might have some catching up to do if you're a creative person. Because of the Mercury retrograde, you might not have been so impassioned. And this is saying, you know, move forward accordingly with creative projects. Mars is direct and in the sector of how you can earn. So if you get to work on projects, prosperity can come through. And now we have transformation, Pluto. So number 13, this is the card of death. This is change. Pluto is transformation. And since Pluto is impacted so much and impacting so many other planets this month, there is change of direction. There's rerouting. And what works for you and what doesn't, Sag. There's no need for you to feel limited. You are creating limitations in your mind. Nothing is really keeping you anywhere. You choose to be there. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I'm wishing you a beautiful, sweet season of spring. Remember, the sky is limitless, so reach for the stars.